And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the 8 o'clock spot live here on the Gryd Network's YouTube channel and Twitter account. I am your host / judge / moderator, Bryson Carver. Very excited to, I think for the first time in 8 o'clock spot history, have the exact same returning three from the week prior. We obviously had some fun last week on episode 31. Episode 32 now has three fantastic contestants to get into a myriad of things in the world of sports. Where we start with Caitlin Clark. We're going to be talking some NBA stuff, Dallas Cowboys story that Adam Schefter, discussed yesterday. But I will start with the champion of the 8 o'clock spot a week ago and the current points leader. We'll get into the leaderboard in just a second. It is Barry Grant Jr., fresh off of attending night one of WrestleMania. Barry, how are you doing today?
The champ is here. You see my name, Mr. 8 o'clock spot. That's what I've been from the inception of the show. I've carried this show since its inception, and I will continue to carry the show. I am the Roman Reigns of the 8 o'clock spot. I am the Hulk Hogan of the 8 o'clock spot. I am the Stone Cold Steve Austin of the 8 o'clock spot. I am the Bret the Hitman Hart of the 8 o'clock spot, and I will continue to dominate. So that's all I got to say.
Didn't Roman Reigns lose on Sunday?
But he was the champ for 4 straight years.
Well, that's true. That's true. You can't, the run can't last forever. Barry Grant Jr., All Even podcast host and current points leader on the Gryd Network's 8 o'clock spot. New addition to the 8 o'clock spot last week, looking to get his first win on this show. It is Mr. Keith Nandin back on the 8 o'clock spot. Keith, how are you doing tonight, my man?
I am doing. How is everybody else?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. Great to have you back on. Great to, again, have the returning three. Like, I'm curious to see how this works for a second straight week, because, like, the history that is I should say history, like something bad happened. It was very competitive. Let's put it that way. Last week, I expect it to be the same today. The host of the Pham Perspective Podcast, and up there in the standings on the 8 o'clock spot, Mr. John Rivera is on the show. John, how are you doing tonight, my man?
I'm good. I'm feeling like Mr. Rose. You know what I mean? We got to finish the story. You know what I mean? We got the rock and all that. We understand. But the story was I'm supposed to win. I'm coming to win this week, baby.
It's going to be tight. That's what I do know for sure. Let's look at the leaderboard before we get into our very first topic, the updated leaderboard for this week. Barry Grant Jr. jumps back into first place ahead of Mike Guido, who is in second, followed by Alfred, Dalton, Devin. There's Johnson right there at 6, Adam Bessie, Tim, Dylan, EJ, Ryan, Anthony, Alex, Eric Van Letten, and there's Keith Nandin, hoping to extend or to be able to build on his already his 700 point total from a week ago. Let's get into our first round rules, folks. It's quite simple. A great take gives you 200 points. A good take gives you 100 points. An okay take gives you 50. And a bad take, you come home empty-handed with 0 points. The most watched basketball game in 5 years was played on Sunday, where the Iowa Hawkeyes fell to the undefeated South Carolina Gamecocks. Dawn Staley getting her 3rd title at the University of South Carolina. But Caitlin Clark, the Gamecocks, everybody involved were able to lead an audience that averaged 18.7 million viewers on Sunday. This is mind-boggling to me, the most watched non-football or Olympic sporting event in America in 5 years. So obviously these young women moved the needle. There's no question about it. Caitlin is going to get drafted on Monday by the Indiana Fever, who, for the record, 36 of their 40 games are going to be on national television. That got announced today, which shows that the impact that she has. So I will start with you, Barry Grant Jr. The WNBA has been slowly creeping up in terms of popularity. They're going to get a massive shot in the arm with Caitlin Clark coming out on Monday. Will Caitlin Clark save the WNBA?
That's a great question. That's a lot of pressure to put on a 21, 22-year-old athlete. No matter how great she's been in college, you got to see it first, right? I think that you have to see how she transitions in handling, dealing with pros. Listen, Diana Taurasi said it best. She's literally one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player to ever play in the WNBA. And she says, it's not about playing with little girls anymore, or girls that are 18, 19, 20-year-old. Like, now you're going against professionals every night, and it's a different ball game. It's a different level of competition, and you have to elevate your game. So to say that I think she can get more eyes on it, but is she going to be able to elevate it to new heights? I have no idea. That's a hard thing to actually, quantify, because, we've seen great players come into the WNBA. We've seen Candace Parkers. We've seen the Diana Taurasi's, and, it's only risen incrementally. So we'll see what the impact is with her. She has the talent to do so, but, are the people going to come?
It certainly appears that's going to be the case right off the bat. Well, at least in Vegas, because I know that if back-to-back defending champion Aces had to move their game against the Fever to T-Mobile Arena, I think they had to get like another 2,000 extra seats for people to be able to go see Caitlin, obviously the defending champion Aces. So at least initially, it looks like it'll make that impact. Will it be sustained is obviously the question. We'll see. Here's the thing, Barry. I didn't get one thing we pride ourselves on. You know this better than anybody as the points leader in the 8 o'clock spot. We pride ourselves on definitive takes.
It's tough.
One that
tough.
definitive. Okay, take 50. I'll give you the 50.
I'm sorry.
Listen, you're wrong.
That is a tough thing to quantify. It is. But listen, I'll take the 50 with pride. That's all right.
I just did a yes or no, this or that.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's nuance. We understand, but the 8 o'clock spot, it's nuance. You win or you lose. It's that simple. Moving to Keith Nandin, will Caitlin Clark be able to bring the eyeballs that she was able to draw at Iowa and bring those to WNBA and kind of save the league to a certain extent?
Well, I think she will. I mean, she's got me. I'm already waiting for the next game. I mean, and since we're on this WWE sort of theme, I mean, it seems like all these other girls are cutting their own promos to go up against Caitlin Clark, like Diana Taurasi already sending shots. I mean, it's like I can smell the jealousy. I can smell it. So I mean, I believe the first game is June 30th. I believe it's Caitlin Clark versus Diana Taurasi to open the season. And I mean, I'm in. So I hope that she lays the smackdown on all of these girls that are just like, I don't know. She's getting a lot of hate. I think they're jealous that she's getting so much attention. So I'm Caitlin all the way. She's got me. I'll be watching on June 30th.
In defense, I will say this. The game is actually, I checked today, it's going to be on May 14th. I think they're playing the Connecticut Sun, if I'm not mistaken. May 14th. It's going to be a Tuesday. Yeah, that's no. The season is pretty close to when the women's basketball, really the college basketball season ends.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
right,
so we'll be getting this pretty, and I'm curious to see. I'm not saying it's going to beat it, but I'm curious to see what it's going to look like. Her very first WNBA game, the hype is going to come around that, and a potential NBA playoff game, and just see what the comparisons between those two, and can really get a good look at. I will say with Diana Taurasi, in her defense, she is Diana Taurasi. She is arguably the GOAT. I don't. If there's anybody that's going to be jealous of Caitlin Clark, I don't think it's Diana. And I will also say, and I'll defend her and Sue Bird in this regard. I think some of the stuff said about Caitlin Clark, honest to God, is they're pissed that their alma mater lost to Iowa by the skin of their teeth in the Final Four. And so there's that little bit of saltiness sort of left over. We all deal with that as a sports fan. No matter how great those two players were, that still, it hangs around. But nonetheless, Keith, I'm going to give you a good take, get you, if I can pull this up here, to get you at 100 points in the early lead over Barry. We'll see what John has to say. But yeah, I think she is going to certainly bring those eyeballs. But again, obviously, it's going to be about sustainability. To John Rivera, will Caitlin Clark be able to bring in eyeballs and bring her presence to be able to save the WNBA?
Save that's a big, huge thing to say. I won't say save, but you definitely bring more spotlight, to the WNBA, because it seems like the WNBA every 3 to 4 years, they get like a spark where people are paying attention. That one star player from college comes. The last 2 years, Vegas coming out. I mean, a team being able to play in Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And bring back-to-back champions, and Becky Hammond's over there, their coach. So I think every couple of years, like I said, they get that spark with star players. Like I said, Candace Parker, and then going to Chicago to, win a championship with her, hometown. But as far as saving, she won't save it, but she'll definitely bring more eyes to it. Because, like I said, women's sports in general don't get the love that they deserve. And they're just not going to ever get the eyes. I'm just sorry to say it, but they won't get the big eyes like the NBA or whatever. They might have 1 or 2 games where they outdo the men, but as far as, taking over and stuff like that, no. So he definitely will bring more eyes, especially this year. But the games in Indiana and all that, like he did in Iowa. So he definitely bring more sparks. And like you said, everyone will be paying attention, at least to the first season. See how it goes. And like I said, to that big game, it was versus versus the Vegas, where they had to move to, from 12,000 to 30,000 arena. So save is she's not going to save, but she definitely bring more attention for the next foreseeable future, I would say.
You mentioned if it could beat out the NBA a couple of games, I'd call that a win. because obviously, again, if you could play with popularity, it's not particularly close right now. So again,
Right.
I said this on my show last week and even this week, that because of the eyeballs she's brought to the women's college game, it puts extra pressure on the WNBA. Like, hey, they could do it. Let's see if you can do it. So I think that matters well. But I'm going to give John Rivera a good take, gets him to 100 points time with Keith going into round 2. Yeah, I think that there's because there's so much momentum now, and because the season is so close to when her previous season just ended, it's going to be a fresh enough story to where there's going to be a lot of attention on her debut, and then obviously we'll see what she does in her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, who took Aaliyah Boston #1 last year out of South Carolina. They'll take Caitlin Clark #1 this year out of Iowa. So we'll see what happens. So good first round, fellas. We'll move into our second round, where everything gets doubled from the first round in terms of point totals. A great take gives you 400 points. A good take gives you 200. An okay take gives you 100, and a bad take, you still come home empty-handed with 0 points. I know Barry's not going to love this segment, but the Golden State Warriors laid the smackdown of the Los Angeles Lakers, 134-120. Hit 26 3-point shots. That is actually tied for the second most in franchise history. Draymond Green went 5 for 5 at one point. Steph was 6 for 6 from 3. Clay hit 5. Now, for the record, there was no Anthony Davis, and LeBron James arrived to the arena only an hour before tip-off due to flu-like symptoms. He did play well, dropping 33, 11, and 7. But right now, they're tied in the loss column. The Warriors do have the tiebreaker. There's a good chance that they'll face each other in the elimination 9-10 playing game. I'll ask you to start, Keith. Who's more likely to go on a long postseason run? Is it the Lakers or is it the Warriors?
If I had to bet, I would definitely probably bet the Lakers. Just right now, the state of the Warriors, I don't really trust the supporting cast as much as I trust LeBron's supporting cast, even though Anthony Davis always seems to get hurt. I think Draymond's antics and Klay Thompson is sort of like a poor man's version of himself before he got hurt in the 2019 finals. He's still good, but he's not what he was. So I think just with LeBron, AD, and Reeves, and I think I would hedge my bet towards the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have that's one thing I commended them. One of the few things I commended them in the offseason. I thought they did a good job sort of adding to their bench. Obviously, bringing D'Lo back, I was a little skeptical of at the time. He didn't play well at all last night. But by and large, that's been a good contract for him. He's a 0 on the defensive end, but he can be any given night an 8 or 9 out of 10 on the offensive end.
Yep.
And again, I don't put a whole lot of stock into the loss for the Lakers for them last night because they didn't have Anthony Davis, and we saw without LeBron James that came back and beat, albeit a Bucks team that's playing poorly, but still came back from double digits in the fourth to beat Milwaukee. When those guys are in the lineup, they can beat anybody, I think, in a 7-game series with the possible exception of a Denver Nuggets. So good take, Keith. If I can put this up here, this will get you not to 200 points. That should say 300 points. 300 points for Keith Nandin in this second round. Yeah, I think, listen, there's when you do have that level of size, when you do have that, obviously LeBron, we know his history in the postseason. Anthony Davis last year was really good in the defensive end, the postseason, kind of inconsistent offensively, thus earning him the name of my show of Coin Flip Davis. But we'll see if he's able to replicate that in a greater way if they were to get in. To you, John Rivera, who's more likely to go on a postseason run? Is it the Warriors or is it the Lakers?
I mean, if I want more points, I would say your Golden State Warriors, right? They're the veteran team. But no, I'm gonna go with the Lakers, man. And just more, I would say, I believe more in the Lakers team than I would Golden State. Like, you're not gonna get Draymond shooting 5 for 5 or whatever he was in the first half, 3-pointers. Klay Thompson just been too inconsistent, man. I mean, if he can show that, every other night instead of every 4 nights, you know what I mean? Then I'll believe more in Golden State. Kuminga could be up and down. Wiggins the same way. So I think for me, I trust more in LeBron, obviously, and AD, and then just that whole supporting cast that they build over there. I believe more in them, especially what they showed me this season, than I do with the Warriors. Like I said, the Warriors just been too inconsistent. Like they'll win if, like I said, if Clay drops 15 and 16 or better, you know what I mean, and all that like that. So I definitely believe more into the Lakers. So that's why I think they'll make a longer run. I think the teams in general that I think nobody want to face either of them though. That top couple teams other than Denver don't want to see them because whoever them teams play there, and they're gonna beat them. I would think, you know what I mean? Like OKC is a little too young. Minnesota, you still can't believe in them. But if you actually gonna make the longer run, I would say the Lakers, man. I believe more in the Lakers. Like I said, the inconsistency of Golden State, man. So I'll take the Lakers.
That's fair. And obviously, listen, I think when you look at the Western Conference right now, like it's really fascinating that if I would love to see both get in the playoffs because I think it's better for the playoffs to have LeBron and Steph in it. But let's just say for the sake of argument, both get in. Say you get a Minnesota taking on a Warriors, or you get a Oklahoma City taking on the Lakers. Like there's some matchups that favor the younger teams, but the experience, the playoff success favors the older teams. So that definitely factors in as well. And yeah, I think that again, last year's playoffs does have to be taken into account. As much as I do love my Warriors more than last year's Warriors this season, listen, in that game, I guess it was game 3 and 6, the Lakers absolutely housed the Warriors and did so really just by pure physicality. The Warriors were just too small to be able to win that series. So John, I'll give you a good take, get you to 300 points. I think you make a lot of great points that, the Klay Thompson inconsistency has been an issue. I've talked about on my show all season long that if how he's playing right now, he's averaging about 20-21 a game over his last 9. If he can come anywhere close to that in the playoffs, yeah, I think I could convince anybody here to maybe switch their answer. But yeah, we're 70 plus games in, and you have seen sort of an up and down Klay this year. So we'll see what happens regarding his postseason play. He is an impending free agent. To you, Barry Grant Jr., you're the Lakers fan here. Should the Lakers or Warriors, who's more likely to make a postseason run, LA or Golden State?
I think the Lakers are more suited for a postseason run just because of how they're designed. Listen, Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the NBA. It's not even close. He will win the Defensive Player of the Year, and just his impact alone on both ends of the floor affects a lot of the game. Missing Anthony Davis yesterday, you saw the difference of what the Golden State Warriors can be able to do. And listen, when you knock down 26 threes, no one's beating you. But the thing is, that's not sustainable, right? That type of shooting is not sustainable. And when you have certain deficiencies that the Golden State Warriors do have, they're still a good team. They've been battling. They've been playing great basketball over the last month. But, that's not something that you can be able to really quantify or pinpoint or say that this can be able to, be sustainable going forward in a 7-game series, because coaches lock in. They find weaknesses, they hammer into those weaknesses. And, I think Golden State has a lot more deficiencies that the Lakers have. So I do think that the Lakers are more designed for a postseason run, but it's really, really, truly about matchups. We know how this is. If the matchups fall in your favor, just like it fell in the Lakers' favor last season, right? They had great matchups that allowed them to get to the Western Conference Finals. If Golden State can be able to get in and get the perfect matchup that fits their style of play, then yeah, they can be able to make a run, but the Lakers are just more suited based on what they have top to bottom to be able to make a run roster-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think traditionally speaking, these are two very different rosters and very different styles of play. Like I know I'm one of the very, very, very few members of Dub Nation that doesn't, go on about, the Lakers shoot all 1 million free throws, the Warriors don't shoot any. Listen, because the style of play is night and day. I mean, again, you make 26 threes because you shoot a bunch of threes. Now, again, they went 26 of 41. They shot better from 3 than from 2. Like you said, that in and of itself is not sustainable. But obviously, we know the Warriors are a better shooting team, but the Lakers are better down low. They have the personnel to be better defensively. Now the question is, will they be able to put that into practice? So all three of you guys get good takes. I'm going to put Barry up here to 250, only 50 points behind Keith and John Rivera. The only problem is with this, guys, every single one of y'all are wrong. Okay, the Warriors are going to go minimum to the Western Conference Finals. Long as they don't face Denver before then, they will get to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, listen, I'm curious to see it, man. If you're right, shouts to you.
Hey, that's why I should have went. I love where I should have went with the Golden State take to get more points.
No. You weren't going to get a great take. Listen, if I'm nothing else, I am objective, and all three of y'all make good cases. But we saw the Warriors did take 3 or 4 against the Lakers this season. That matters too. So the matchup seems to favor the Warriors. If I could make that case. All right, moving on to the third round, and we'll be talking about another NBA topic. But first, a great take gives you 800 points. A good take gives you 400 points. An okay take gives you 200, and a bad take, still empty-handed, still get 0 points. Really, the bad news just continues to flow in from the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo injured his calf last night in a win over the Boston Celtics. The good news is that it doesn't look to be a season ender. He's going to miss the rest of the regular season, as I don't think that surprises any of us. The problem was it was a non-contact injury. He just threw the ball into Damian Lillard, started to jog up the floor, and it looks like something went in his calf. I don't want to speculate on the exact situation what the injury is, but again, the bad news continues to come in from Milwaukee, despite them being the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. So I'll ask you, John Rivera, are the Bucks done? Or are there chances of winning a championship? Is that out of here?
Just like I lead off my show, I'm gonna keep it 1-0-0 out of 0-1. listen, the Bucks season's over, man. Like, they was not even like, they were maybe top 5, but they wasn't gonna. Let's be real. Let's be real. They was not gonna win the championship this year. They made a coaching change with 30 games in. They got Doc Rivers that got one championship in 90 years. Like, the chemistry with Dame and all of them still wasn't meshing anyways. So they wasn't championship bound or winning a championship in general. You know what I'm saying? They had a chance to get there, but was they winning it? No. I would think more people would say they like the other teams other than they like the Bucks. Now, we talking about the franchise. Like, that's when you got Steve franchise, we talking about the franchise and Giannis. And this is an injury that we've seen before where KD came back in the playoffs and ended up messing it up, missing the season. So why in the hell with anybody, if I'm the owner, I do a Michael Vick, like, nah, I'll roll you out in a wheelchair and everything. Like, no, you're not playing this year, because guess what? We wasn't winning. Let's come back, heal that to next year, man. We finagle the roster some way, somehow, you know what I mean? Get better people. You'll have a whole full year, another year with Dame and the coaching staff, and we come back strong next year. But for this year, let him sit, man. Just let the man sit, let him rest. That's a big boy that like to attack. And like I say, he's a big guy. So that the type of injuries, man, take a while to heal properly. And like I said, 100% Giannis, the chances were slim. So imagine the 75, 80% Giannis is not going to get you a championship this year. So let the man rest. Come back next year, man. Let that man play another 10, 12 years and the right way, you know what I'm saying, and not be injured and worried about that injury lingering.
Yeah, I think that matters. And obviously, we consider the fact that you mentioned the KD thing, and I talked about that on the show today. Like, I am not a doctor, not going to play one of this show, but the only slight difference is a lot of people that hurt their Achilles or tear their Achilles talk about how the first thing he feels like somebody kicked you. Giannis, again, for like KD, when he got injured, he like looked back like, hey, what happened? That didn't happen with Giannis, fortunately. So maybe it's a less severe injury. And again, everybody's body's different. We don't know exactly what happened as far as the situation is concerned, but
But the body lingo is almost the same. Like, he might not look back like KD and Shaq, like they said, like something fell off their leg. But when he felt it, he kind of looked down and went down immediately. Like, so I'm not risking it, man, at all.
No, it was already looking bleak for Milwaukee. And listen, you laid everything out perfectly. We always give bonus points for humor on this show. So, John, great take. Getting you to 1,100 points. I think you're all spot on the money right there. I think, listen, the fit with Giannis and Dame, the Doc coaching chain. Listen, if you're going to fire Adrian Griffin midseason and Doc Rivers is your first thought as far as bringing a new head coach, that was odd. He may be gone at season's end. It's the Bucks continue to move backwards after winning the championship in 2021. So we'll see we'll see what happens with them in the playoffs, but it's not looking that promising. To you, Barry Grant Jr., you've been all over the Doc thing for a while and the Dame Giannis thing for a while, but generally speaking, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm curious anyway. Are the Bucks done regardless, Giannis healthy, Giannis unhealthy? Well,
I mean, I'm gonna say first off, John said that Giannis was a big guy. First off, you gotta say pause on no Diddy. We gotta put that out there. The first thing, I love John, but you gotta put that out there. The second thing is, you have to. What I'm gonna do is, I am not gonna take his take because I liked his take. He kind of put things out there, but I'm going to take a different approach. I've said this already. The Bucks were done from day one. This was a old roster that got older, that got slower, that they don't really have much versatility. The biggest problem, even outside of the Giannis injury, right, is the fact that the two-man game between him and Dame don't work. Dame is pretty much one-dimensional. Giannis is pretty much one-dimensional. So when you put those guys in a pick-and-roll situation, it's really easy to be able to stay at home. You know what Dame wants to do. You know what Giannis wants to do. There's no variations to a pick-and-roll. So that's the struggle that you have, especially when you have a guy like Doc Rivers that doesn't give you much variation on offense anyway. So they were already flawed X and O's wise, strategically wise. They were already a flawed basketball team. Going into the playoffs with a coach that really doesn't do you any favors, they were already going to be behind the 8 ball. Without a Giannis now fully healthy, you're really going to be behind the 8 ball. All the Milwaukee Bucks is right now with not a healthy Giannis is the Portland Trailblazers all over again. So we've seen how far Portland can go with Dame. They didn't really go that far. Of course, they went to the Western Conference Finals at one point, but we already know what happened there, right? So this is what's going on here. They're not designed this season to win in the playoffs. Could they add some pieces in the offseason? They're kind of cap strapped right now. I don't know what they can be able to do. This might be the team going forward for the next year or two. And that doesn't really bode well for them. So I would say no, they were cooked to start.
Yeah, and I'm glad you hit on the thing about Giannis and Dame's fit, because you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and you sort of laid out like the two-man game between Giannis and Dame because of their styles of play. Like Dame doesn't really have a good floater or a good mid-range. Giannis is obviously not like a pick and pop type of guy, so and then those components don't really work. And so, listen, the problem with Milwaukee, you talked about them being able to potentially add pieces in the offseason. What assets do they have? I mean, in a situation they're paying Giannis a lot of money, they're paying Dame a lot, Chris Middleton. So, like, and obviously Middleton has been a shell of himself ever since he got injured 2 years ago. So, it's looking rough. So, Barry, I love the way you took that. Great take as well, putting you up there. The great takes with John. There's the fit issue, the Doc thing just made it worse, and the fact that they were 30-11 and did fire their head coach told you that there were some other issues beyond just the play on the court that were going to play this team in the long run. And it's just the chickens have come home to roost in the last month or so. So there you go. Finally to Keith Nandin. Keith, looks like we're dealing with some connection issues. Keith, back in here. Are the Milwaukee Bucks, with a healthy Giannis, without Giannis, where the case may be, are they done as a title contender?
Yeah, definitely as a title contender, they're done. I mean, even with Giannis and Damian Lillard, I mean, they're still a notch underneath the Celtics as far as I'm concerned. With Giannis out, they're basically light years away from the Celtics. I mean, you have both of those guys, you probably feel like you have a puncher's chance against the Celtics. But without Giannis, I mean, it's just not going to happen, especially against the Celtics. Maybe you get around. You've seen Dame Lillard, like Barry was saying before. It's almost like the Portland Trailblazers. He's like, he left the Blazers, and now it looks like he's on another team. It's just like the Blazers, where maybe he can get around. I don't know. Maybe I don't even think he could get round two without Giannis. Their title chances are totally cooked. The Celtics are the team to beat in the East. Even before that, they were a level, maybe even two levels below the Celtics as far as I was concerned. So without Giannis, they're cooked.
Yeah, I agree with all three of you, and I think there's another subplot. Go and put up Keith's total. I'm going to take Keith, get you to 700 points. I think there's a subplot that I've talked about the last couple shows. I think there's a very real possibility that if he hasn't already, Giannis will play his final game as a Buck this month. Because I think when you consider, can Milwaukee get that much better? I mean, sure, you can bring a new head coach, but that'd be 4 coaches in 3 years. The Budenholzer thing wore down at the end. Adrian Griffin didn't work. Doc obviously doesn't work. So how attractive of a job is that? Dame's getting older. It's an expensive roster. Barry talked about the age of the roster. The Knicks would love to have Giannis. They have the assets. The Warriors would love to have Giannis. They have the assets. Miami would at least make a push to go get Giannis. I think he looks around the NBA, says, listen, I'm in the prime of my career. Do I want to waste it crossing my fingers everybody stays healthy and that everything comes together? I think that's keep your eye out for that. That could be a potential story. Alberto P in the comments says Giannis to NY. It very well could be the case. Again, they have the asset. The fit with Giannis and Brunson, because Brunson is a two-dimensional player. He does have a floater. He does have a good package down in the in the mid-range area. That would be fun to watch, and that's absolutely contender.
Pause.
Oh boy.
Pause. No Diddy. Pause. You got to relax. Package in the mid-range area, you gotta relax. That was crazy. Yo.
What happened to the no
man.
Oh, I hate you guys. I really do. Let's move on. Let's move on to our 4th round rules. I'm trying to do a professional show here. Great take gives you 1,600 points. Good take gives you 800. Okay take 400. Bad take 0. Basically just double what the 3rd round was. To the Dallas Cowboys, as big of a joke as whatever the flip that was. The Cowboys are in a rough spot. So Dak Prescott's a $59 million cap hit. This is the last year of his 4-year, $160 million deal. And a report from Adam Schefter the other day in NFL Live said that the Cowboys are a sleeper team, quote unquote, to potentially draft a quarterback as high as number 24 to go in the 1st round of this year's NFL draft. I talked about this on today's show. I have a very surprising take, but this is about y'all's take. I'm curious to hear what you think. Starting with you, Barry, you're a Cowboys fan. You are let's just say you and I have very different belief points on Dak Prescott. Should the Dallas Cowboys take a quarterback at number 24?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it.
No, I mean, I can go further, but I've been saying this for 5 years now. They should draft the quarterback. I mean, listen, I've said this, and we can disagree. People who are Dak fans, people who are not Dak fans, who just appreciate football. You can be able to win a Super Bowl with an average quarterback as long as everything is in place. Problem is, can you win consistently with an average quarterback and pay him $60 and $70 million? The answer is no. Dak Prescott is not elite. He's good, but he's not elite. It's just like if Brock Purdy were to get $75 million next year, everybody would be like, no, he's not worth that type of money. See, I never really agreed with next man up in football. Well, this guy got $65 million. Well, this guy needs, no. You get paid for what your skill set is and what the team feels that you're worth. Jerry overpaid for him 4 years ago. He's not going to do it again. We know this. We understand that where they are at this point, they need to start over. You've already hit that cap. It's just like the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. They've hit their ceiling. It's going to go backwards at this point. Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. They've hit their ceiling. They've been good for X amount of years. They can't crack through and beat the good teams. So why continue to try to hit that ceiling? You need to start over. Give Dak a fresh start somewhere else. If he wants to take less money and compete somewhere else, shouts to him. But Dallas cannot continue to do this because you cannot build a great roster around an average quarterback that you're paying X amount of money to. You just can't. You just can't. So it's best that they do draft the quarterback. I don't agree in the first round. You could probably get one in the third or fourth round and see what you can do. There's holes to fill in the offensive line. There's holes to fill running back and all these other places. But yes, they do have to draft the quarterback in one of those rounds.
Listen, I'll give my take on the number 24 thing after y'all are done. But come on, a guy who is second in passer rating and completion percentage, basically every stat is not average. Come on now, you don't have to say he's elite, but average. Come on, average is like Russell Wilson.
Bryson, you know about sports. Stats lie all the time.
My eyeballs don't.
Blaine Gabbert was a guy that passed for like 4,500 yards one year. Blaine Gabbert is not a good quarterback. So stats lie all the time.
They do. I'd argue that's one year. But nonetheless, though, yeah, I think it is. Again, Dallas is in a spot where if they don't want to pay Dak, well, then you're going to have to obviously look for the future. And let's be real. Trey Lance is not if Trey Lance couldn't beat out Brock Purdy and couldn't flourish in the Shanahan system, he can't flourish anywhere. That system's tailor-made for quarterbacks. So they'd have to move on. They'd have to, go draft a guy or maybe get a guy in free agency. I'll give Barry a good take out of respect and out of, to avoid him acting like, oh, this biased take. He docked me for going after Dak.
I haven't said anything towards you all night. All right. So don't project. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
No, I'm not projecting. John Rivera, should the Cowboys draft a quarterback at number 24?
First, I'm a Dak fan. They should pay him however they want to do. They should pay him. I've been saying it as Barry. I like Dak. You know what I'm saying? Next man up. I don't believe in that shit either. Because, some players are overpaid like a motherfucker. Excuse my French. But, yeah, I think they should definitely draft a quarterback just because they're in the situation that they're in now. They're in the last year with Dak. They don't know the future like that. I think they do want to move on, but they still want Dak. It's a relationship sort of thing. Like, I don't want to give you too much, but I still want you to stay. But they definitely should draft a quarterback, you know what I mean? In the first, if they're going to draft in the first, just move up and get one of the top 4 guys. Like, do what San Francisco did a couple years back with Trey Lance. Like, if you're going to get a quarterback or try to get a replacement for Dak, do it this year. Like, if you feel that way, especially how they're talking like the top 3, do it this year. Move up. Give up whatever you're going to give because that's just draft capital. You ain't paying nobody. Like I said, Dak can get all the money. So I do believe, like I said, they should draft a quarterback, absolutely. But me personally, I will pay Dak, move some other little pieces, but they should definitely draft a quarterback. Maybe not in the first, but if they're going to go all in, do like San Fran did, and move up and, get McCarthy or whoever they want. I don't know who is what. McCarthy is not going to be that great in my eyes. That's going to be a whole draft talk about that. I don't think he's going to be that great. People got him going like 5 to Minnesota, training up with the Chargers. But, yeah, I think the Dallas should draft a quarterback, though, just to see, compete with Dak and see what they got, you know what I mean? Because I don't think they don't want to pay Dak. So, yeah, draft a quarterback.
No, sure, and obviously, a lot of whether or not they trade up or not is going to hinge on if they were to draft a quarterback, who they like and where that guy's going to slide. Because see, if it's like a Jordan Love Packers situation, well, we'll just wait for him to fall into our arms in the late first round. The Ravens did that with Lamar Jackson in 2018. So listen, there's been a lot of good quarterbacks been drafted in late rounds, but yeah, I think for Dallas, if they are intent on moving on from Dak, then I mean, you can cross your fingers like a Joe Milton out of Tennessee is getting a lot of buzz. I'm a Vols fan. Kid's got I think he's got a better arm than Josh Allen. It's a monster. The problem is he's not accurate and he has no pocket presence. So you can try on guys like that, but I do agree with you to a certain extent. Like if you're going to go in and take your next guy, go ahead and do it in the first round. Make sure you got, somebody who other teams view and, might be a little bit jealous of you if you take them. So good take, John. I get you to 1,900 points, a little bit over Barry. Yeah, I think I would take a quarterback if Dallas is intent on doing so and moving on from Dak Prescott after this season. Finally to you, Keith, should the Dallas Cowboys draft a quarterback with their first round pick this draft?
Well, it depends. I mean, they have the 24th pick. It depends. If you have someone on your board that you love, then you absolutely, without a doubt, you grab them. But I think you should be careful what you wish for, because I mean, it's hard to find average quarterback play in this league right now, let alone elite or good quarterback play. So, I mean, you want to just scratch. I mean, I guess you got him for this year, but you want to scratch Dak. I mean, are you ready? Are you prepared as a Cowboy fan to win 5-6 games? You're prepared to start over and win 5-6 games? I mean,
yes.
I don't know about that. I mean, you need to really be careful because, I mean, just ask the New York Jets. It's hard to find if you have an average quarterback, at least you have a quarterback. There's lots of teams in this league that don't have anybody. So you need to be careful with that. If you have someone at 24 that you love, you without a doubt take them. But if you can improve the roster at 24 because you don't see a quarterback that you love, then no, you don't just grab some random guy because you think maybe he's got a no way. You have to love. If you're drafting a quarterback, you have to love the quarterback because it is so hard to find a quarterback these days. You can't just be grabbing blind. I would rather improve the roster. You have good quarterback play. I mean, the guy's basically an MVP candidate, and you're saying scratch the season. I want to win 6 games. Come on, I don't agree with that way of thinking. I mean, I got a decent quarterback. I improve the other areas of my team. I mean, the Packers, they were about to put a 60 spot on the best defense in the league. I mean, last night, Dak Prescott wasn't going to go out there and tackle anybody. He didn't play well, but I mean, it's a team sport, and finding a quarterback is really tough. I think you should really be careful with that.
Keith, I've known you for a week. I like you already, man. You know what? You're on the Dak Prescott fan club. John didn't ask for the New York Jets to be involved. He didn't ask for the New York Jets to be involved.
We'll take Trey Lance at this point. Yeah, you talking to a Jet fan? He'll be like, "Yeah, give us Trey Lance," and we're here talking about Dak Prescott. I mean,
Bryson, I'm gonna say this, and I've said this before on multiple shows, your show, my show. I'm gonna say it to Keith because maybe he hasn't heard it. And we're gonna use a relationship analogy.
Okay.
Why stay in a relationship just because the woman cooks you basic food and has a roof over your head and you don't truly love her? If you're gonna stay there just because there's security and hey, I might not be able to find better here, so it doesn't get much better than this. No. You should never settle. You should never settle for something that you don't want. So, get his ass out of here.
So you'd rather live on the streets. You'd rather live on the streets.
I would rather live on the streets. I would rather live on the streets happy with peace of mind.
You're gonna be begging. You're gonna be like, please find me a quarterback.
As a Cowboys fan, and this is football. For people that are on the listen to the show, if you're a fan of your team, listen to this right now. If you're not at the top or at the very bottom, you do not want to be in the middle. The middle is purgatory in sports. And if you know that you can't win, you might as well bottom out and start from scratch. That's where Dallas is. We are in the middle. We're in the middle.
Well, here's the thing. Well, first of all, Keith, I really loved your take. I'm going to give you a good take. Unfortunately, that's not going to be quite enough to get you to the final round. So, nonetheless, a really good performance on your part. I will say this, and it's so hilarious that we got a comment here by our guy, Boston Sports Summit, our guy Tim Barnard here at the Gryd Network. He says, Michael Penix at number 24.
I like it.
It's so funny you say that, Tim, because I said on today's show, if and only if Michael Penix Jr. is available at 24, or if you trade up to get him, I'd draft Penix, and I wouldn't stop there. Dallas is not a piece away from competing for a championship. They're in the they're in the middle of the NFC, like you said, Barry. Sports purgatory. So here's what I'd do: I'd draft Michael Penix,
and trade Dak.
Yeah, but Bryson,
let me finish. Keith,
Bryson.
Let me finish. Listen to this. I wouldn't just trade Dak. I'd trade Micah Parsons too.
Yeah, 100%. I trade Michael before Dak.
I get that, but let me ask you this: Did you think that you said, "Oh, you're in purgatory because you're in the middle"? Did you think that before they played the Packers?
Yes.
Well, no, I didn't. I
think he's asking. I think he's asking me.
Okay. That, most Cowboys fans before that game were saying we have the team that can compete for a Super Bowl. Off of one game.
It's not one game.
Was played. I think every Cowboy fan thought they had as good a shot as anybody to win the Super Bowl.
Not me.
I don't know. You thought they were going to go on a run. Listen,
I thought they would get to the NFC Championship. Yes,
but
that's fair.
Not Super Bowl.
That was a shocking game. Did you expect them to lose that game?
I didn't expect them to lose that game, but I also didn't expect Dak to look like a deer in headlights to the fact that his
that's the best defense in the league gave up a 50 burger.
Yeah, but what did the offense do, Keith?
50 burger.
What did the offense do?
I'll give you all a minute.
They didn't play well. Nobody.
What did the offense do? What did the offense do? What did the offense do the season before that? What did the offense do the season before that?
The season before that fell me off.
They always fold.
All right, then. So if they always fold,
where does that come from?
Listen, if they always fold with this quarterback, if they always fold with this,
come from the quarterback? Does that come from the team itself?
Keith, listen. If you have a star and you always get to a certain point and you can't pass that point, there comes a point in your organization where you have to make a decision. Are we going to continue to go here when we can't improve the roster because we don't have the money to do so? Or do we blow it up? Every team goes through it. Every sport goes through it. Look at every team. At some point, the Florida Marlins had so much talent that they had to blow it up because they're running it back. They're running it back. They had the same coach. They're running it back. And they will lose.
Oh, they'll lose. And listen, my prediction for Dallas getting the Super Bowl last year obviously was not a very good one. But my logic was, and this is where even I, as a Dak guy, overestimated Dak. I thought Dak was the level of guy that could carry what I believe. This is where I disagree with most Cowboys fans. I thought it was a mediocre roster. I thought it was a mediocre roster with a great quarterback, a great receiver.
And that's fair. That's fair.
That it landed in first round exit. Obviously, should have went further than that.
Dak isn't one of those guys that can.
Right. So which means that he's not worth $60 million.
Now Josh Allen on the other hand, he is.
No, he can't do it either.
He's that guy.
We can do a Josh Allen discussion after, so we can do it after the show's over. Here's the thing. If John isn't,
he's trying to last on the show. He's been eliminated. Okay,
he was the real MVP. He was the real MVP this year.
All right, just don't even. We can talk about this after the show. If John is not, well, you know what? Out of respect for John, we'll give him time to get in for the final round. You know what, Keith? You've been so passionate. You've been so good today, and you're a pro Dak guy. You're going to get into the final round, buddy. I'm going to give you an opportunity.
Come on, I don't want your charity, Bryson.
Well, you know what? We'll see. I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure if John's going to be able to come back, and so therefore I'd have to hand the show to Barry, and that's no fun. That's just Yes, you're in. Point is, let's go to the final round. The final round rules are quite simple, ladies and gentlemen. You win, you get 10,000 points. If you don't get the 10,000 points, you get nothing. It's the great equalizer of this 8 o'clock spot tournament. It can really give you an opportunity to kind of get back into the game as time goes on and be able to put yourself up as high as possible in the leaderboards. Tough story in the NBA right now. Jontay Porter plays for the Toronto Raptors, the brother of Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets. He is being invested. The investigation is going on right now of suspected gambling, and there's reports that he actually bet on some of the unders on some of his stat totals, which is yikes. And Adam Silver came out today that said if they find him guilty, then he is out of the NBA. He'll probably be banished for life from the NBA. So really serious situation here. I'll start with you, Barry, in this segment. If found guilty, should Jontay Porter be banned from the National Basketball Association?
I just have one statement to make about that. Burger King is hiring. Burger King is hiring for Jontay Porter. They will find him guilty because obviously there's actually a paper trail with this. So there's not going to be much difficulty finding it, right? They can be able to find this thing. Once they pull all the data and get all the access and all that stuff, they're going to find it. And I don't know if this guy thought that he was low profile enough to not get on the NBA's radar. I mean, how stupid do you have to be? Like, I talk about idiot brain all the time. There's a dummy born every minute, and Jontay Porter is just one of them. So he should be banned for life. If Pete Rose can never come back, and there was never something like this in regards to when Pete Rose was coaching, right? So if Pete Rose is the greatest player of all time, they can ban him for the sport. Jontay Porter, who's not even he's a decent player, but he ain't nobody's favorite player on no team. Nobody has a Jontay Porter jersey out there. He should be gone. Burger King is hiring. He's going to be a weekend warrior for the rest of his life. And maybe he can be able to maybe apply for a job at a sports gambling place since he cost his career there. He can be able to take up sports gambling. If you feel that you are so addicted to this, that you're making hundreds and thousands, if not millions of dollars at this point, because he's not a big star, but he's making good money, right? That you're not even content with that you're going to go ahead and bet the over or under on your play. You're an idiot and you don't belong in the NBA just off your intelligence alone. So no, he shouldn't be in the league.
Yeah, I think that there's that maybe that should be the rule. If nobody bought your jersey, then you should get kicked out. If they find you guilty of such a crime. Yeah, I mean, listen, I will die on the hill that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I think that's the most bogus thing. That's almost as bad, if not worse, than the steroids thing with Bonds and some of these other guys.
100%.
But yeah, it's really bad. Like and I don't get the upside of it either. Like
None.
You're making money in the NBA. Why do you need the extra from
a couple of thousand?
Yeah,
like,
it's bad math. It's bad math. It just doesn't work. I'm definitely with you, Barry. To you, John Rivera, should the NBA ban Jontay Porter if he is found guilty of gambling on the overs, unders, all the above?
Yeah, they should ban it. Come on, man. You betting on yourself and you betting the unders. At least bet the overs, man. I'm going there and getting wet like Curry, or like my brother Porter. You know what I'm saying? Like, your dumbass betting on your unders. Come on, man. He did it on himself, man. He should have just stayed betting 1,000, 2,000 here. But when they start seeing 30,000 on fucking Porter, what? Not Porter from Denver? No, Porter from Toronto. What? You talking about Porter? He played for Golden State and John Wall and them? No, we talking. Come on, bro. Like, you should be banned just for being dumb, bro. Like, come on, man. You betting on yourself. Like you said, the great Pete Rose was, he didn't play in the games himself. He coaching, and he got banned and still banned. He should be in the Hall of Fame. So you got this dumb Porter guy, man, like betting on himself. Come on, man. Like I said, he's dumb for, like I said, betting the unders, bro. That's my take on that, man. Like you said, he's supposed to bet the overs. I would have been in there chucking, you know what I'm saying? And for threes, I would have been winning all that money. But yeah, he should just kept a low profile. Like I said, bet 5,000. But once they started seeing that 30,000 on a Tuesday night, on who? I don't even know who. They snitched on him because they had to go somewhere special in a dark, dark tunnel to bet his fucking prop bets because it wasn't even on the board. He's not on FanDuel. You have to literally go somewhere and bet somebody for this guy's stats. You know what I'm saying? So his dumb ass need to get kicked out of the league, man, for that, for sure.
Yeah, I think again, $5,000 for a millionaire. Like I don't even. Yeah, I'm with you too, John. I don't really know. I can't really add to that. Keith, should Jontay Porter get banned from the NBA if he's found guilty of gambling?
Yeah, because the most important thing, especially with all these, the FanDuel, the Caesars, all these apps, the most important thing to the commissioners of these leagues is the integrity of the game. So once you mess with that, that's it. You're done. I just want to know, what kind of trouble is this guy in that he's betting $5,000 on himself for the under? Like, who is he robbing to buy back, to pay back such and such, so he doesn't get, who knows what kind of shady stuff he's into? Because I mean, it doesn't really make much sense. And I mean, on top of that, it's like, who can like that? It's like, how could you can't cheer for a loser. How could you bet on the under on yourself? Like, at least you're talking about Pete Rose. At least Pete Rose was betting on his teams to win. I think everybody can get behind that. Like, at least he's trying to win the game. Like, it's like, even when people bet on the unders, on just a regular or random NBA, how do you sit in front of the TV and cheer for bricks? Like, I hope he misses it. I hope that's hard to do. That is hard to do. So I mean, it's just just a big time loser. That's really all you can say about him, is just big time loser. I'm going to collect my check, win some money on FanDuel, and put up some air balls. I mean, we any one of us could do that. Sounds like a good gig.
Yeah, and you know what? It's that explains the 15-game losing streak by Toronto. Although I'm not going to give him credit for the Raptors. I'm not going to. He's not. I didn't. To be completely honest, didn't know who the guy was until I saw this story.
Neither did I.
It just said brother of Michael Porter Jr. Oh, okay, yeah. He's the brother in the family that does stuff like this.
Oh my God, he's Michael Porter Jr.'s brother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't know that to this day either. I didn't know that.
Oh
right
man,
now.
so one of them is in trouble. So maybe he's in some trouble. Who knows what's going on?
Listen, maybe the distraction of this could give, maybe distract Michael Porter Jr. and give some, create an opening for the Golden State Warriors to knock off the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Final. I'm just saying. I may thank Jontay Porter if it's all done. Like, thank you, man. I know you sacrificed your career, but thank you very much. Listen, all three of y'all gave fantastic takes. If this were a singular round, everybody across the board get great takes. Y'all were accurate. Y'all were funny. Y'all gave some great takes. But of course, this is the 8 o'clock spot. There's winners and there's losers. There can be only one winner, and the winner, as we dial up the victory music here of the 8 o'clock spot, episode 32, is John Rivera of the Pham Perspective Podcast, getting the W tonight. John Rivera, the champion of the 8 o'clock spot. Your reaction, John?
With that music, man, all that deserves it. So, woo! Nature boy. No. It's good to feel we back in this chair, man. Like I said, man, all my teams don't be winning championships since like the 90s and late 2000s. So I'm gonna take these little wins right here. You know what I'm saying, and cherish it. You know what I mean. I finished the story, Barry. I finished the story.
Listen, we had to get a WWE reference at the end. That's perfect.
Right.
That's fitting. Listen, it's good that you won because Lord knows Bulls ain't winning jack for years. Neither the Jets. Well, the Jets haven't been winning anything for years, and Yankees, y'all getting your hopes too high again. I'm just waiting for that moment when Houston meets you in the playoffs and takes care of business.
I'm going Baltimore. Baltimore got them this year.
Oh, okay. I think Baltimore's overrated, but that's another story for another day. But still, yeah, listen. The Red Sox are terrible this year, and you're going to be in the same situation as us. We can vacation together in Cancun for another year in a row. While you look at our more championships than you in the 21st century. But nonetheless, John Rivera, the rightful champion of the 8 o'clock spot this week. Listen, all three of y'all gave great performances, and listen, Keith, I gave you, just for the DAC take, special exception to get into the final round.
So I get the participation trophy.
The participation trophy, just like the Buffalo Bills get every year. Oh, that was too soon. My bad. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. So I didn't know what I'm talking about today.
First of all, he should be.
It's too soon.
He should be ashamed of himself that he's a Josh Allen fan and roots for the Jets. What a disgrace he is.
Oh no!
What a disgrace he is.
No. See, I was never really a Jets fan.
I
became a Bills fan because of Josh Allen.
Disgraceful.
You know what? And John gets a point over everybody in this room, because everybody in this room except for John has left their original team.
That is
true.
what
I'm saying?
Look,
so
that's what I said. Y'all talking about champion. This is the most important thing. Staying loyal to your franchise, to your lady or whatever. I'm not switching to no Cowboys.
I will.
The baby helped you win, though. The baby did help you win.
I will stay loyal to my lady but damn those Jets. Right now. Damn those Jets. They broke my heart too much. I had to leave.
The Jets will take Dak.
Yeah?
The Jets will take Dak.
You go ahead and take him, and you'll be in the same spot that we at.
I don't want him to be there. I don't want to be there.
We will. I told you for years I'll take him. So
Come to Pittsburgh, Dak.
I'll tell you straight up, if Dak ever ends up in New York, you see, Dallas fans, we're very calm. You know, we will go ahead and express our frustration, online and stuff like that. You go to New York and fail, they will come after you. I'm just saying.
That's a fact.
They will come after you.
Hey, man, they make the playoffs. They'll start throwing the parade today.
That's probably true. That's probably true. I will say this, and we got to get out of here. I'd love to discuss this post-show. But listen, John, I'm not going to lie to you, my friend. The baby did help you win the show tonight. So give credit where it's due. Give credit where it's due.
Yes,
baby Kingsley, you know what I'm saying? Kingsley.
Good luck.
5 weeks and a couple days old, you know what I'm saying?
That's what's up, man.
Awesome.
Congrats.
Awesome. Absolutely. Congratulations to the latest edition of the Rivera family. Congratulations to John for winning the 8 o'clock spot tonight. Shout out to Barry. Shout out to Keith. Both great performances. That is it for this edition of the 8 o'clock spot. Be sure to catch us next week, hopefully next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time, live here on the Gryd Network's YouTube channel and Twitter account. Congrats to John. Great performances by Barry and by Keith. See the belt right there. You are still the points leader, but John is gaining on you by the show. We'll see what happens in the future. We're coming close to the end of the season here, so we got to start seeing who can rack up those points toward the end and finishing strong. Hope to see everybody here next week. Stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out.